Welcome to a new Alfresco Coding with the Hub video. Today we are focusing on the deployment of Alfresco Repository incrementally. So we are going to start with a very simple repository and we are going to add services by using Docker Compose. We are starting with this configuration that is the minimal configuration, so deploying Alfresco, the repository, and also the Postgres database. Remember that also the file system is used in order to store the documents that we are uploading to Alfresco. From that, we are adding also the Solar6 service, the Solar6 container, in order to provide this basic repository of the searching feature. So this searching feature, in this case, is only applied to metadata. If we want also to search by using the text, then we need to use the transform service, and this transform service is the one that is converting the content of the files to text, so Solar can also index this text and can provide you the feature of searching using the content. Finally, if you want to use the new Autoprocess SDK, if you want to consume events producing ActiveMQ, then you need also to add this other Docker container to your composition. And remember that from that basic configuration, then you can add the UI applications like the content app based in Angular or the legacy UI SER, and you can also use a proxy, so you can just handle all the requests by the same port. So let's move to the project now to see how can we test all these different configurations. The different configurations are available in this Alfresco Incremental deployment project that is available on my GitHub account, and you have several folders with the different configurations. Let's start the simple configuration. It's just starting the Docker Compose. So in each directory we have a Docker Compose template with the configuration. So the repo is including the basic configuration. Repo search is adding searching capabilities for metadata. Repo search counter is adding also searching filters for content, and repo search content events is adding also the events production on the ActiveMQ. So if we start with the first one, that is the repo, we can see, like in the Docker Compose, we have only two Docker containers, the Alfresco repository and the database. And on the configuration, we have disabled the indexation subsystem, the transform service, and the event subsystem. So we have only the database and the Alfresco repository. In order to test the different features provided by each configuration, I created this simple set of REST API calls. So the first one should be just to verify that navigation is working. It's a simple get of the nodes my, just in order to verify that we are having some results. The second one should be searching by using metadata, like this one, CM name, project contract. This is a simple metadata search. And the third one should be just trying to search by using something that is in the content of the documents. So for this first test, we are expecting only to be working this one, because we don't have yet searching capabilities. So if Alfresco service has started now, we can start testing the features provided by this simple deployment. Now the repository is live. Let's check if the expected services are available. So in this case, we are going to have the Alfresco repository and also the API Explorer. So, okay, now that we check that both are running, let's see if all these invocations are working. So we are expecting this to be working. So we are having results and this fine navigation is enabled. We are not expecting the search to be working because we have no search subsystem configured, and obviously also we are not able to search by content. So let's move to the next one so we can add at least the searching features by metadata. Let's move to the second Docker Compose template. So in this case, we have the repo search. On this repo search, we are adding the search subsystem, the search service that is based in Solar. So we are adding these properties to the configuration, the index Solar6, also with the host, and we are using the secret communication mode, and we are adding the Solar6 container using exactly the same secure comms communication. So with that, we will be able to access the different services we are deploying. So the Alfresco repository, in this case, that is running. Let me close the other one. We should be able also to access to the API Explorer. That's fine. And we should be able also to access to the Solar Web admin console. In this case, remember that when using secret mode, you need to use this specific HTTP header with the secret word you choose. So let's go again and test if navigation is working. Let's see that. It looks like it works as expected. In this case, we are expecting that metadata searching is working as expected. It's working fine. So we have now one result. And since we don't have the transformation service, we are not going to be able to search by content. That is fine. So with this configuration, we are able to navigate, we are able to search by metadata, but we are not able to search by content. Let's add the required service for that in the next test. Let's go with the next iteration. So we are adding also the search for content in this configuration. In the Docker Compose, we are adding the transform service, the configuration for the transform service, and that is running locally with HTTP. And we are adding also the Docker container for that. So with this configuration, we have in place also the transformation for the test for the content searching. So when this is up and running, we are going to have the Alfresco repository, the API Explorer, the Solar Web admin console, and in this case, we are going to have also the transformation service. So this transformation service is the one used in order to extract the test from the different documents you are uploading to Alfresco, so Solar can index also that content. So let's see if Alfresco Hub started. So it's almost started. Let's see if that starts finally. Okay, so finally we got that, and we are going to test again all the different services. So the first one is to test that navigation is working, and we are expecting that to work, that fine. We are expecting also to be able to search by using metadata. And let's see if that works as expected. That's fine. So we have the result. And finally, with this configuration, we are also expecting to be able to search by using the content of a file. So in this case, we have one result and we have the right result. So with this configuration, we check that also every service expected is running. Let's move to the latest one. In this last configuration, the repo search content events, we are adding also the ActiveMQ, the events subsystem to the deployment. So for that, we are just creating this configuration, this messaging broker URL, and obviously we are adding also the Docker container for that in this case is based in ActiveMQ. When everything is deployed, we are going to have all the services we have before, like the Alfresco repository, the REST API Explorer, the Solar Web UI, also the transformation service web console, and the ActiveMQ web console. Remember that this configuration is not required if you are not using the out-of-process SDK, exactly the events part of the out-of-process SDK. So if you are not planning to use that integration approach, then you can remove this service from your deployments. So let's see if Alfresco have started. Still struggling with that, but let's check that everything is up and running. Okay, so let's check. The Alfresco repository is fine. Looks like it's working now. Also the API Explorer. Using the right header, also you may have access to the Solar Web UI. We have also the transformation service running. And in this case, we are going to have also the ActiveMQ web console. If that is working as expected, and if we look at the queues and the topics, we are expecting to see some events, and this is the case. So the events are produced on the right topics, and you are able to start using your integration. Just remember that we were building this deployment incrementally, just with base features, adding the metadata search, adding the content search, and finally preparing the platform in order to be used with the auto-process SDK. This configuration also works with the UIs, the content application, the Angular application, and the legacy UI application share. So I hope that was useful. You have all the materials on the GitHub project. Test it out, and see you next time. Bye.